Hey everyone! After returning from my trip to Colorado and Utah, I wanted to share with you this short commission that I did. Now, I don't have any process footage of creating it. It was relatively short since it was a logo, but I still wanted to document it and go over some of the decisions that I made in the process. So I was commissioned by an old friend from high school, and they're now involved in UTD's student organizations that handle media. So for UTD TV, you can see their YouTube channel here. This old friend was starting a new project or TV series. It was going to be called The Ad Break. They released a first initial episode. They created a quick fill-in title screen, but of course I was supposed to go in and create something a little more polished. So their inspiration for this TV logo was going to be 1950s style. I went into Spotify and found a bunch of their decades playlists and found one for the 1950s. So that was super fun to listen to while creating this logo. Another source of inspiration that they wanted to reference was the video game series Fallout, which is a post-apocalyptic alternate history video game series. It focuses on the 1950s and 60s. So these two fake posters that you see here are from that video game. Another source of inspiration they found was with the Pack-a-Punch machine, which is also from a different video game series, mainly the font style and the coloring with the diamonds in the background. When I was looking on Google for 1950s logos, I found that diner designs or diner-inspired designs were the most useful. I was mainly looking for designs where there were blocks, whether it be rectangles, diamonds, whatever behind the letters that are usually a little offset. I ended up going with this reference photo, the version in the bottom left. I liked this one the best because using the title, the ad break, it has a very short the word and then ad break being the main focus. A lot of other designs I saw were very heavy at the beginning with the keyword, or there were two keywords that were similar in length. And that wasn't going to work for what I needed, which was something more asymmetrical. After finding the overall shape I wanted to do, I was looking at fonts. I found this great reference sheet from graphicsfairy-DIY. And I went with Sacramento for the more loopy, skinnier, less focused word, the, and then the rest was in Font Diner Swanky, which I thought was the most similar to the Pack-a-Punch font. It's thicker and heavier, but it's still very stylized, so with the serifs. So that's what I went with. So here you can see the finished logo with the transparent background. Something that I also noticed in 1950s designs was these little stars. They didn't always manifest as stars that look like that though. Sometimes they were more rounded or evenly lengthed, like asterisks or little snowflakes. But it was a pretty important thing that I saw replicated across a lot of the designs, so I wanted to incorporate that. Initially, I added the stars in the green area, but it was very difficult to balance that negative space, and it felt very overcrowded. So eventually I added it to the blue background, which seemed to work a lot better. And instead of making the stars white, which had too high of a contrast, I made them a paler blue, and that really helped them blend more into the background. Another change I made was all the black that you see is actually a very pale, cool gray. And initially I had it as solid black, but it was just way too heavy and it didn't go with the muted palette of these faded out colors. So changing that to gray helped bring it all together. After creating the logo, I wanted to make a title screen or something that could be used as a YouTube thumbnail. And this was the final result for that. When looking for 1950s TVs, I'm not sure if this one exactly matches that. A lot of the ones I saw when looking up 1950s colored TVs had larger bodies that were mostly wooden. So I might be off a little bit on the accuracy. But mainly what I was looking for was the rounded screen that I thought was a very big staple of older TVs, and almost that fisheye bowl effect. So this is the TV I picked, and it does have a mask over it. The thumbnail needed to be horizontally focused, so if I incorporated too much of the external casing, it would have been very vertical. Finally, for the static effect, this whole screen is a mask. So if I bring the reference photo outside of the mask and turn up the transparency or opacity, you can see that this is what I used to get that. And it's also what's responsible for making the colors more muted. And that's all I have for this logo. It was different from what I usually do. I don't work with fonts a lot, but it was a really fun challenge and I enjoyed doing it. It took only a day, so relatively fast. I am still working on that original commission I documented. I'm partway through the faces and hope to finish the faces and hair by the end of the week so that I can send it over to that person for review. Thanks for watching.